Hello everyone, how are you? I want to show you one exercise that will help you a lot into improving your lines. This is something that a lot of my students ask, how can they improve their line work? And this is a really simple exercise, so let's get to it. Before we start, choose a medium. Choose something that you are comfortable with. It can be done on paper, on your sketchbook, with a pen or a pencil. I think a pen is a little bit better just because you won't feel like erasing something if it goes wrong. It's okay to make mistakes and it's more than natural for you to make them, so using a pen I think it can be a bit better, but it's totally up to you. If you're doing digitally, choose a brush that you're comfortable with. There's so many brushes to choose from. For example, if you're using Clip Studio, I really like using the G pen when I'm using line art, and for the sketches I like to use the pencil brush, the rough pencil brush. So explore what do you have in your software, have fun with it, see what's the most comfortable for you. This is a very important step, and once you've done that, you can start this exercise. So it's going to be very simple. What you want to do here is lines. So we're going to start with doing straight lines. Don't think about curves yet. So just draw some vertical, just draw some vertical lines, horizontal lines, and as you can see, I'm doing, sometimes they're not completely straight. Try as best as you can to do long lines, shorter lines, but notice how I'm not going with something like this, with shorter strokes. I'm going from one point to the other with a long stroke. And yes, sometimes they won't be completely straight. We are not rulers, it's completely normal, but the more you practice, you'll get better at it. So just draw diagonal, vertical, I don't know vertical from horizontal, but horizontal and vertical lines. Practice this as much as you want, and if you're feeling a bit tired with this, you can go for a variant. So instead of doing the line right away, you can go just draw one point and then another, and now you want to connect these 2 points. There we go. So the objective here is to try to not go away from the points as much as you can. Of course, you might end up with something sometimes like this. You don't connect with the point exactly, so you can just fill your sketchbook with some lines. Just don't think about them too much, like, hey, I'm drawing lines, this is it. I think it can be fun. It's almost a no-brainer. And then if you want a bit more of a challenge, you can start doing the dots. One dot, another dot, connect the dots. One dot, another, connect them, and so on and so on. So this is basically one exercise but with several levels, let's say. So once you're done with lines and you feel like your lines are getting better, you can go for the next step, which is drawing shapes. So you already know how to draw your horizontal lines, your vertical lines and diagonal lines. Now it's time to connect them together. So we can start doing squares, rectangles, triangles. Focus on straight lines for now. Don't go for curves yet. Just this, just very basic shapes that you create. And again, do focus on keeping your lines smooth and long. You don't try to go, don't be afraid of this, okay? I know that, and I used to do this same thing when we're going to draw, and especially if you want to draw a longer line, is that we are a bit afraid, right? We are kind of thinking, oh, this is too long, I won't be able to do it, I'll mess this up. And I mean, maybe you will, who knows. As you can see, sometimes I cannot go with a perfect straight line either, especially if my hands are really trembling, which sometimes it happens. Don't go bit by bit until you have that line, or like this, like going. I mean, at the end it might not look too bad, and some people do this, but if you want to have that very clean style of line art, do practice on doing long lines and confident. Just a fast whoosh there. Bam, one line, bam, another. This goes the same for the shapes, just 2 lines. They might look a bit weird, that's fine. You're not looking for a perfect shape here. We're not doing mathematically correct shapes. It doesn't matter. Just focus on how good your lines look. Once you've practiced some shapes, you can go for the next step, just like we did before with dots. So I have 4 dots here, and now I'm going to connect them. Boom, boom, boom. Let's try a triangle here. Bam, bam, bam. So just 2 dots. I don't know if you feel familiar with this, but there are connected dot books, and just like there are coloring books for adults, there are connected dots books for adults as well, and I love those. Connecting the dots is something that I really like to do as a kid, and I got one of those books some years ago, and it's so much fun. So you can get something like that and just have fun creating those drawings by connecting the dots, and you can use a pen and just try to practice those lines as well. It was something, and these are a bit more complex than the ones for kids, right? So sometimes you have like a line that goes from one side of the page to the other, and trying to make a straight line with that, it's really hard, but it's also a really good practice. So it's something that you can also check. This is mostly it. This is the exercise that you can do to improve your lines. Now, another thing that I want to talk about here as well is the pressure. This is especially important if you're using a brush pen traditionally, or if you're doing this digitally. So, for example, if you don't add a lot of pressure to your pen, you're going to have something very thin. However, if you put quite a lot of pressure, you're going to have something quite thick, right? So once you're done with these exercises and you start to feel more confident, try to play with those pressures. So you can start thin and going thicker with your lines, so practice those. Just try to do some strokes where you don't put a whole lot of pressure in your pen. Do the opposites, put as much pressure as you can. So this will kind of help you start to get more used to the pressure, to the pen itself, to the brush, and how to control it better. And after all of this, when you feel really good about your straight lines, it's time to start with curved lines. Yes, now we can go and make curves. So draw very curved shapes, half a circle, draw circles, draw long curves. Remember to also play with the size of the lines and shapes that you do. Doing something shorter is easier than doing something that goes all the way to the bottom of the page, and just have fun with it. Do some spirals, and again you can also do the dot thing with this. So for example, we have aquí 2 dots, and I can connect them together with a curved line. So you can go through all these exercises or through all these variants that we just did with straight lines, but apply them to curved lines. So this might seem like a very basic exercise, just drawing lines, just drawing random lines in your sketchbook, but it's really helpful, believe me. You start to feel more confident in your lines, and also, since you're not really drawing anything in particular, you will start to have less expectations about it. You won't be worried so much about the end results, so you're just drawing lines, just have fun with it. Remember, maybe you won't be drawing perfect lines all the time. I don't draw super good lines all the time. Sometimes just I'm not having a good day. Have fun with it, and you'll see that you get better at it. And remember, keep on drawing even if it's just random lines on a sketchbook.